Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I'm Anthony Castellana.
Hi, I'm Amber Holcomb.
Hi, I'm Anna Holcomb.
Okay.
Hi.
Ready? Okay. I shadowed Mr. Bill Jordan from 2J's. He's an area director. When I decided on choosing which leader I was going to pick, I decided on one that was most relevant at the time. He started out as being our general manager.
Go ahead.
I chose Bill Jordan to be the leader that I shadowed. When deciding on a leader, I picked the most influential manager that I had. I've known him for about 5 years. He started out as the general manager for our restaurant. He was then promoted to the area director. As a key employee, he helped to develop me into a better key employee, which means basically I can act as a manager if needed. He's always willing to share his knowledge. I remember a time when I was at Spanish Springs 2J's and I needed help with a catering issue, and I was able to call him and he directed me with no problem, and was very influential in making me want to decide if I was going to pursue being a manager or if I was going to stay as just a server. Gathering data, the first interview that I did with Bill was the beginning of February. I wrote down probably 25 questions, sat down with him, started asking him. He was very intimidated by the amount of questions, but as I started asking him, they slowly started to just come out, and he ended up answering most of them before I was even asking them. The second interview I did was actually not an interview, it was my shadow shift. I went to Spanish Springs and I followed him around as he did a inspection, which they go in and check every little detail at the restaurant. They go from the front door to the back door and everything in between. They check how the servers are talking to the guest, if the managers are doing their daily shift routines, and the kitchen and the deli, if they're cleaning and sharpening knives and doing all of the little things that sometimes get overlooked. The final interview I did with him was in March. I met with him also at the Lake Sumter store outside. I asked him just a few more questions. I didn't go into great detail in the first two interviews on what his goals, and the last interview I discussed with him a little more in detail of his goals and visions for 2J's. I also discussed a little bit more about his favorite and least favorite parts of being a manager. Some of Bill's philosophies are to treat others how you want to be treated. I think this is how he gains a lot of his respect from his employees. He started out as a busboy at the age of 15. From there, he worked himself up to being a manager at the tender age of 21. And by 26, he became a general manager. So he knows all of the aspects of being in the restaurant, from being the very low guy to being the top guy. I think that gives him a lot of empathy with all of the people and how he can relate to them. Another thing that he's very passionate about would be, don't wait for tomorrow for what you can do today. He would always rather be proactive rather than reactive, and he likes to plan for the worst but hope for the best. I think this helps the restaurant run more smoothly and helps for everyone to be happier because we're better prepared. His growth plan for the company would be in the next 5 years. They are planning to open 5 stores every year. At some point, they would like to move out of Florida and continue to grow up the East Coast. There are a lot of things that come with doing that. They have a commissary that has that delivers a lot of our food to us that they make fresh and send to every store. So we would have to have another commissary before we move outside of the state of Florida or go farther north. Communication, because we are a smaller company, sometimes is difficult to execute. There are a lot of There are a lot of vendors that help make our company run. We have Pepsi, we have our commissary, we have our bakery, we have our food order, our dry storage stuff. So there's a lot of pieces and parts, and they don't always get communicated to every store so easily all of the time. His goal is to be able to help that get better. With conflict management, a lot of the employee and manager conflicts are supposed to be handled at a store level. He rarely gets involved in those unless they cannot be handled at a store level. On the contrary, all of the guest issues go directly to him. They are still sent to the store level as well, but he is responsible for calling and contacting each and every guest that complains in his area. His best advice in dealing with that is make sure that you listen and try not to take what they're saying personally. Establishing trust. He's able to empathize, which helps establish trust because he's been in our shoes. He's direct. It's one of my favorite things about him. He doesn't like to sugarcoat anything. He tells you like it is. A lot of times it's hard to swallow, but in the end, you know you needed to hear it, and it's easier to grow from it. He's honest. He doesn't see any point in lying. It's how he then maintains trust is by being honest. He's dependable. I know that I could call him at any time, and if he could, he'd help me in any way, shape, or form. I feel like his management staff feels that way as well. He's caring. One of the only managers that I know that if I ever needed anything for my children to be able to go to take care of them or for myself, that he never really asked questions, that at the bottom line is my family should always come first. And I really couldn't say anything better than that's just amazing because it's hard to find. Empowering. It's actually his favorite part of being a manager is being able to empower his staff. He loves to share his knowledge. He wants to see you grow. He does everything in his power to be able to give you the opportunities so you can grow. He strives to have everyone succeed because if you succeed, that makes him look like he's doing his job as well. He wants everyone to care about their job and be as passionate as he is about the people and the restaurant. In conclusion, I have a newfound respect for him. I always respected him, but always thought that his methods were a little unorthodox and just a little crazy. I couldn't see how he would do some of the things that he did, and he does have a method to his madness. I don't always have to understand it right when it's happening, but I know that later on it'll dawn on me that, hey, this was a lesson that I learned and I didn't realize I was learning it at the time. Experiences teach lessons. One of the things that we spoke about in one of the interviews was I asked him how he became so direct. He said that as a child he would ask his father a question and never get a straight answer. So as much as that annoyed him as a small child, it helped him become a better manager because he's always so direct. He doesn't feel the need to give all the fluff. At the end result should be you just need to know what you need to do to improve yourself. So I feel like a lot of the tougher lessons that we learn or tougher experiences that we go through will help us be better managers or just better people in general.